Hey fam. So I wanted to do as quick as possible a review. Um, Basically, the new movie Glass is coming out, I think today, Thursday. But what I wanted to talk about, and this was suggested to me by one of my other sons, Justin. This one's for you. Basically, this is a third installment of a trilogy of movies by M. Night Shyamalan. And the trilogy begins with the first installment in the East Rail of the 177 trilogy, and it's the movie Unbreakable, which came out in 2000. All right, in this movie, we have Bruce Willis, who plays David Dunn. We have Samuel L. Jackson, who plays Elijah Price. If you don't know who they are, Bruce Willis was in The Sixth Sense. Sixth Sense. He's been in a ton of films. He was married to Demi Moore. Samuel L. Jackson is that black guy in the movie. And I do mean all the movies because he's been in more movies than any living actor in America today. Okay. We also have Robin Wright, who used to be Penn. She's just Robin right now. We know her from House of Cards. But more importantly, we know her as Janae from Forrest Gump. He has a son in this movie, Bruce Willis's character, David Dunn. His son is played by Spencer Treat, and his name is Joseph Dunn in the movie. He's like 10 or 12. Anyway, this movie, David Dunn plays a security guard, or the character David Dunn is a security guard, and he was involved in a horrific train crash. And he's the sole survivor of this horrific accident. And once the news, hits the public that he's the only person who survived this accident, basically, a disabled comic art gallery owner, Samuel L. Jackson's character, helps him discover that he has superhuman powers, okay? He tests this theory. Literally, there's a scene where he's lifting weights in his basement, and his son has sort of that, that complex that every kid has. My dad's the best man, he's the strongest, he's the most powerful. His son seems to be wrapped up in this theory, but he's willing to go to great lengths, like probably further than you and I would have gone to prove this theory true about our father. So basically, he's lifting weights, and his son, the more and more weights he's lifting, he's telling his son, put on more. And I'm watching this freaking out like, are you crazy? That little boy can't spot you if you can't lift, the next round of weights, whatever that he puts on there. But anyway, it ultimately ends up that his son has put every single weight in the house down to adding 2 buckets of paints on that weight bar that he's lifting. And he lifts them all like he's good. He can do this. So he realized exactly how strong he is. All right. Another thing that he realizes after he's introduced to this is that at his job, excuse me, sorry. At his job, he has a little insight with people. And what I mean is like by sort of grazing them, touching them, he's able to take a dip into their past as far as crimes that they've, done in the past. He gets a sense of that. And they show an example of this when there's like a football game that people are all coming in for, and he's literally talking to Samuel L. Jackson, and he's like, hold on a second. And then he goes over and tells the guy who's letting people in, you need to start searching people. And he's telling Samuel L. Jackson after this, low, quietly so people in the line don't hear him. But basically, this dude in the army fatigue jacket is going to leave the line watch. And sure enough, once he gets close enough and sees security guards now patting people down, he leaves. So it's something he realizes that his power has tapped into. He's able to do this. So basically later on in the movie, wow. Oh, I forgot a really key important, I can't believe I forgot this. Samuel L. Jackson's character. When they first introduce him at the beginning of this movie, his mother gives birth to him, and he's crying, he's upset, and the doctor, actually gets him and is able to take a look at him and is like, your baby's arms and legs are broken. And she's freaking out. You know, how the heck is that possible? He's breakable. He's very easily breakable. He has broken every doggone bone in his body. And it basically ends up shaping and molding him into the man that he is today. Pun intended there. But anyway, so later on, after Bruce Willis realizes his abilities, there's a particular point where he shakes hands with Samuel L. Jackson's character, Elijah Prince. And when he does this, he's able to tap into his past discretions as far as the law is concerned. And what I mean is that he's able to see that he has orchestrated different terrorist disasters, including the train accident that he had at the beginning of this movie. So he realizes Samuel L. Jackson made this happen. And Elijah goes on to defend himself, basically, after David realizes this and tells him, I did this to find you, okay? David is freaked the hell out after this, and he basically ends up reporting Samuel L. Jackson's character to the police. And this is more or less the whole movie. Now, at the end of the movie, they did end up giving Samuel L. Jackson's character sort of a nickname. They called him Mr. Glass, okay? That's where it comes from. From there, we're going to move on to Split. This is the second installment in the trilogy. Split came out in 2015. Lead character, James McAvoy. We know him from the movie he was in Wanted. He was also in Atonement and The Chronicles of Narnia. The other character that I want to call by name, her name is Anya Taylor-Joy. She was in a movie called The Witch. Never saw that personally. More recently, she was in Thoroughbreds. And this year, she will be in a movie coming out called The New Mutants. All right, she's going to be one of the new X-Men. Anyway, she is a withdrawn teenager in this movie. And her character's name is Casey Cook. All right, a withdrawal teenager who was apparently, and you find this very early in the movie, she was molested by her uncle, John, who is currently her legal guardian after her father has passed away from a heart attack. All right, so she and her friends were at the mall. She has two friends that she's with. They're at the mall. And wow, you'd really have to see the scene in this because they're in the car waiting for one of the girls' dads to come around, you know, get in the driver's seat to drive them. And James McAvoy's character ends up sneaking into the driver's seat and kidnapping these girls. So he takes them. He has them locked up. Let me see. As soon as they're captured by him, it's very apparent that his character, Kevin Wendell Crumb, he suffers from DID. This is a dissociative identity disorder. He has 23 distinct personalities. James McAvoy is a damn good actor. He is skilled, he is trained, and he kills this role. Every single personality that they show him playing is so believable. It has you scared. It has you cracking up. It has you picturing him as a kid you went to school with, or the crazy lady, you know, on the lunch line. Or he did a good job. Okay, James McAvoy is the stuff that Oscar-winning actors of the year are made of. He's the shit. There's no other way to put that. Anyway, after they realize about his mental ailments, basically, the girls are locked in the underground quarters. One of the girls, her name is Claire. Anyway, she recognizes that he has this DID disorder and tries to use it to escape. And he ends up catching her and then locking her away from the other girls. McAvoy's character, Kevin, he has these girls locked up, kept But he continues to go to work and to go to appointments with a Dr. Fletcher, who is his doctor for all these different personalities, and who notices that a misplaced dominant personality is apparent, meaning he's mentally not the same as he was when she had recently left him, okay? One of the other personalities, who is a lackluster personality, a more dangerous one, a more crazy one, has taken the lead role in this character, and she's highly concerned about this. Anyway, Kevin ends up basically boarding an abandoned train, which leads to basically the Beast, which is the main character, who's the strongest, craziest personality of his. He takes over once he has got onto this train, because this train has triggered something in his past as far as his father goes, which brought the Beast front and center, who's taken over. Let me see. The Beast is a crazy killer who eats people. No way to get around that. You continue to be amazed by McAvoy's performance during this scene when the Beast is out, because he defies gravity. He's crazy strong. And let me see. Casey escapes from the cell. And Casey, like I said, is that lead character, the Anya Taylor-Joy. Am I getting confused? No, that's it. Casey escapes from the cell and stumbles across this Beast person, has ate one of her friends already, and is now currently eating one of her friends in front of her face, devouring them, okay? She's scared out of her mind. She ends up coming across a walkie-talkie. There's tons of fighting that's going on here, but basically she's able to get help. She's able to have, the authorities arrive there. And in the midst of her doing this, she finds, before the authorities get there, I'm sorry, I'm sort of misplacing stuff here. She found a piece of paper that had the Beast, Kevin's full name on it. And when she calls it out to the Beast, it basically makes him sort of go from the Beast to another one of the personalities. She's basically able to put herself in a less harmful situation by calling out his full name and taking the Beast out of the driver's seat, okay? So with that, it's what she did. And the Beast sort of has a breakdown thing during this process, because she's triggered something else, and all these different personalities basically have a fight inside of him, but in the process, leaving him to believe that Casey is somewhat pure, okay? He doesn't want to hurt her, which is part of the reason he just sort of took off and left her to where she's able to be there when the authorities come to rescue her, all right? Let me see. Once she is captured and rescued by the authorities, and they have her outside of the cell place that she was kept, she realizes she was actually kept in the Philadelphia Zoo, okay? The news media dubs the Beast character there as the Horde. That's what they call him. And at the very end scene of this movie, and mind you, it's 15 years later, it's a diner, they're showing the news coverage of this, and one of the patrons is like, I remember a similar story about this, and they gave this guy a name, and they gave this guy the Horde, and she can't think of the other guy's name, and Bruce Willis is sitting there, and he's like, it's Mr. Glass, okay? So that's basically what ultimately anyone who's gone from watching Unbreakable to now you're watching Split 15 years later, with Bruce Willis being there at the end of this movie and saying that one line, it lets you know, okay, this is part 2, all right? So that's what we gathered from there, which brings us up to today, where The Glass will be premiering. And this is bringing all those characters from these 2 different movies together as one, and seeing what M. Night Shyamalan what he's put together and directed for us now. A lot of people are very excited for this movie, because we didn't even know they were doing another one. After the first one, we didn't know. After the second one, we had a good idea, but 15 years later, you don't know how long it's going to be till you get that part 3. So here we are. Thank you so much for spending your time with me. I hope you enjoyed this review, even though it's kind of last minute. And I hope you watch Mr. Glass. I will, and I'll be here with my review of that one. Thanks. Bye-bye.